call to order.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At Polly's suggestion, we're going to skip item 2, postpone it to the May meeting when our new board member will be here. Minutes of March 10th meeting. Motion to approve.
Motion?
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Date of next meeting, May 12th. Does that work for everyone?
Sure.
Why, theoretically.
Today, that works.
Yeah. That morning, it might not. Any correspondence?
No.
Okay. Let's get to your report.
Okay. So first off, Josh is going to be leaving.
Motion, second.
Oh, sorry.
Motion to accept.
Okay.
Second. Discussion.
Okay. Josh is going to be leaving us at the end of the month. He is going back to town hall starting on the 28th. So we are on the agenda tonight at the select board hearing to have both the principal clerk position and the library aide position that was Melissa's posted. So hopefully that should go through and we will move on with that. So, did you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm picturing Josh.
Oh, okay. So we're going to be, May is going to be a very interesting month here, but Amy and I have figured out a schedule that should work, and we will just go with that and see what happens. But let's see. I contacted Diamond about the shed to see if they would be interested in working with us on it, because that would save us quite a bit of money, because that is a lot more expensive project.
That was a good
than
idea.
I had anticipated. That was actually a member of Fowler brought that up when I was at their meeting.
Yes, I do too. Yeah.
So I'm just waiting to hear back from them.
Do you follow up with them, or do you hound them, or just you're waiting?
I was giving them a little time
Okay.
because I know there's MCAS testing right now and everything, so it's kind of a busy year at the school. I mean, a busy time at the
Yeah,
school.
if we get
So
on the summer schedule or fall
that would be
schedule.
fantastic. Yeah.
Do they have vocational ed at Westport High?
No.
No.
None?
New Bedford does.
Yeah, Dirt Fall River does too.
New Bedford helped with those humanity houses on Sodom Road.
Yeah.
You know, Bedford folks said that they didn't work in Westport. It's only if you can send your kids there that they come
so
into the
Diamond
community.
is-
So
yeah,
Diamond
makes
would be the one. So
Ah,
that's as
gee,
far as I
that's
know.
interesting, because they did either the plumbing or the electrical.
It could be a new thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I was told.
Well, their that
Oh, do they
organization
do
is
construction?
regional
Oh, they
too.
do?
Oh, that could, yeah.
One of the programs. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. All right, I can look into that too then. What else is there? Our new book drop has been built in the desk, so that is finished and we're using it, and it came out really great. The bubbler in the hallway was retrofitted, so it has a bottle filler on the top of it now, instead of just having the gross mouthpiece that's there. So I was able to buy just the top piece, and it saved a lot of money as opposed to replacing the entire thing. So,
That's great.
so that's done, and people are using it, and everyone likes it.
Is that, it's not bottled water, it's town water to put
Yeah,
in your
but
bottle?
this the top part has a filter on it, which is nice,
Oh, nice.
because the
Yeah,
bubbler
yeah.
itself doesn't. So, but we were able to keep the older one we had. We have 3 metal picnic tables that we bought that Fowl paid for. That we haven't gotten them put together yet, but that is on the list because
Are
it's
they-
rained every day almost since I
Did
bought
they get
them.
moved?
Yes, yeah, they're in the. John and Dan had taken them out of the boxes and started to put them together, but they ran out of time, and then it's rained almost every day since.
Are
then.
they going to be secured anyway, or?
And no, but they weigh so much that it's basically the same one that we have for the
Okay.
The employees, except they're square instead of rectangle. But I'm not really worried about them going
Yeah, do
anywhere.
you have a layout of where you're going to put them? You're going to wait till the trees and everything?
For now, because we want them out for everyone to be able to use, they're just going to go down near the benches in that kind of valley area. And then once the walkway and everything is put in, we'll figure out exactly where they'll fit. But for now, I want people to be able to use them since the weather's getting nicer. And We have the first grade class coming in at the end of April. We have 5 first grade classes coming in to get their cards, which is going to push us over 5,000 people, which I'm so excited about. So my goal is half of the town having an active library card.
Nice.
So we are getting there.
Wow, that's
We're getting
great.
closer.
Can we back up to buildings and grounds for a second?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I see that you did the maintenance on the accordion door.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I forgot.
I don't know how it works with the town, but when I worked for the school department, their insurance company required those to be inspected every year.
Okay.
And little
That's
kids
nothing
weren't
I've
allowed to
ever-
push them because when they push them, they kind of get off kilter. So
Yeah.
An adult pushes them more in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't know if those are supposed to be done every year or not.
I don't think they have been. I mean, we
I don't
did-
know if
he
it's a
just-
requirement.
I
It
don't
was at
know. I
the
will find
school.
out. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not sure about that. Because it's mostly adults doing programs here,
Mhm.
I don't know if that would be a requirement, but I can check into it.
Okay.
But it is much nicer. They used it on Saturday, and Dan said it was so much easier to get it open, so that's good. And then, this year the second grade has also requested to come visit us, so that will be the second week in May. So we're going to do like a story and a craft. And
Very nice.
So, yeah, that should be
Very
fun.
nice.
What time of day do they come over?
Mornings usually. Mhm.
Do they walk?
Yeah.
Nice.
So we're gonna do like a Monday, Thursday morning when we're not open, because then it's a little, they don't have to be super quiet. And then, I think Tuesday morning.
Do they all get library cards when they come over?
The first graders will. The second graders, most of them should have them from last year still, so they'll bring them and pick out books while they're here. But it'll just be kind of visit with the second graders, which should be fun. Which one? Oh, sorry. The Stroke Awareness Month event. Sue and I had met with Lisa about that. And we were hoping to have a table with flyers and things on it if anyone, it's in May, which is the nightmare schedule month, so I'm not really going to be able to leave to go over to the school to do that, but if anyone is willing to volunteer to watch the table for a couple of hours, that would be fantastic.
What are the hours?
It's 9 to 5, but we thought maybe you could, like, a couple hours.
A couple of
if there was
hours?
enough
Couple of
people,
hours, yeah.
and some people from Fowl would also.
Do you want to get a sign-up sheet?
Sure. I can
And
put that
then,
together.
no.
And that's May 3rd, I believe is the date.
Is it May 3rd?
I think it's May 3rd.
I noticed you had
It's
May
Saturday, May
24th.
Did I put
24th.
24th? Oh, I'm sorry, that is a typo. I'm pretty sure it's May 3rd.
It's
Because
May
that's what I-
Yeah, yeah.
I think
No,
that-
I think I was just looking at
Sure.
something else when I put that in. I'm sorry about that.
So you think it's the 5th?
I think it's the 3rd.
The
I'm pretty
3rd.
sure it's the 3rd.
Yeah.
It's Saturday. So that is going to be,
Well, our meeting's on the 12th.
yeah, I don't have-
So Saturday would be the 10th.
it is the 3rd,
the
okay.
3rd,
I'm pretty
okay.
sure it's the 3rd.
All
Sorry
right.
about that. And that's supposed to be a really big event. They're planning on a lot of people, so.
Did anyone go to the egg hunt at the high school, old high school yesterday? Because I did. It was crazy. It was so
Really?
crowded.
Oh, I thought they were having it at the camp.
So they were, but the weather, it
Ah.
was the week before last initially. They postponed
Right.
it to this past weekend, just as bad if not worse. So they just had it indoors. It was just mayhem, but if you like that, it was fun. The little guy I was with had fun, but that's all that matters. But it was,
They love that.
oh my God, just running around in circles. I'm like,
Yeah.
We did it at the carousel one year.
oh really? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. An egg hunt? So they didn't hide any eggs because it's just a big open space, so they had little bags, which was it was very well done.
Sometimes they color coordinate that if you're this age, you can get this
Ah,
color.
yeah. Initially they were going to plan to have the kids go out in their age group, but again, the rain washed all the plans away. Apparently, it was fun. But if they drew that much of a crowd for that, although I don't know if stroke awareness is a draw.
Well, that's new. I don't think
Like
they've done
the
that
Easter
before.
This is the first one they're doing, yeah.
Bonnie, could I
Yes.
mention?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. So for Stroke Awareness Day, we were thinking, say, if you wanted to help with a 2-hour block, so say 9 to 11, 11 to 1, 1 to 3, you could do it 2 of you together, or maybe 1 of you with 1 of the friends. We could be together on the table. I was thinking a table in the hallway where people would be passing by frequently, and we could talk to them about the library.
Yeah.
And because they were asking us, Lisa was asking us if we wanted to do a 20-minute presentation, but
Oh, that's long.
Yeah.
That's a lot to talk about.
that's a lot to
Yeah.
about, and I'd rather not, and I didn't get any response from my board on that. Other than one person thought it was better to be out in the hallway or wherever.
I
And
think
as-
one-on-one is nicer, you know, you can
and
talk about the
we'll
programs.
have our
and-
newsletters, and we have bookmarks for the book sales this
Things to
year.
pass out, that's right.
Yeah, and we can talk to people or whatever,
Mhm.
and,
Library card applications.
right.
Yeah.
And you can send them right
that's-
over, we will be open that day. Our
Right.
parking lot is not going to be open that day. They are planning on using our parking lot they're having touch a truck, and
That's right.
I've been told it's going to be around our parking lot, so
But
they
you
are
can
having.
take
yeah.
okay.
No, they're gonna have a shuttle from
Who's
the.
shuttle,
putting
yeah.
it on?
It's Stroke Buddies, which I think works with the COA.
Yeah,
I think
it's
they're
part of
the
the
COA is kind of
COA, I
sponsoring it,
think, yeah.
but it's a lot of.
Now, they may have your table set up.
Yeah,
They may select where it will be.
right, yeah, so, I think we need to get back to them.
Yes.
Get
I
back to
think what
Lisa
Polly had was a
tomorrow.
good idea, sign up
Yeah, I'll
sheet.
email
And we
her.
could say we'd
Yeah.
like to be, if possible, in a real general area
Yeah.
where people are coming into the school or whatever. Probably inside
Would
is
you put a
best.
sign-up sheet up front? And we could sign up
Yeah.
with some times, 2 hours, I
Yeah,
think is a good
okay.
time.
Yeah.
And an email to people who might be interested.
So you're looking to have 2 people,
For 2 hours.
so you need 16 people.
Yeah, but that would be the friends as well.
So 8 from, well,
It could be.
maybe get a little more friends and a little.
Yeah, then you're bored, but
Mhm.
depending if you're available, but if you
Mhm.
wanna sign up for a time, then, once Bonnie has your sign-ups, I'll go back to the friends, and we'll fill in,
Okay.
Oh, sure.
we'll fill in the blanks. We can do that, that's, okay,
I'll email you when I can do it. So go home and see what's going on first, but
yeah.
I think I'll do it.
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity to talk about our programming
It
and
is.
what we're doing over here, so.
And there are some, Bonnie and I talked about, like Bev, who does the homebound delivery service and the use of ebooks. And I was thinking, do we still have those handheld magnifiers?
We do, yeah.
You know, we're thinking of things to help visually and handicapped people as well.
I use one of those at home sometimes. Reading,
Yeah, they're great,
I
yeah,
actually have a question on,
sure.
because we're elected and volunteering they're coming from a city, that's an issue. I don't know if it's a town issue. That you're kind of in the forefront where another elected official might not be able to be. I don't know, that's just something that I know we've talked about, as I said, on a city scope, not on a,
It's
no big deal.
not political or for-profit, right?
Right.
So it should be okay.
Okay, it just popped in my head.
Let's call it advocacy.
Yeah, okay, good word.
Yeah.
You know, right down.
Why bother Jim Hartnett with yet another
Yeah,
question?
true, right.
Yeah.
Better to ask for forgiveness.
Actually, just read the entire thing, because it came up that Elisa, because she has been volunteering here for years, would she still be able to do that? And as far as I can tell, the answer is yes.
Okay.
Because it's not going to, there's no conflict of interest. She shelves books for us, I mean. So I think it's sort of the same thing, as long as you're not, promoting anything political or, just
Perfect.
talking
I
about
just
the library,
did the
I think.
conflict of interest course again. I got an
Okay.
email from the state
I
saying.
did too, I
Me
haven't done
too.
it yet.
Yeah.
I did get that.
Do we have to do it
redid it.
again?
like a half hour.
No, you did yours.
Oh, it takes
I did mine.
They're sending them out automatically, like through the computer program now,
When
so I think
the
everybody's getting them at
2 years are
different
up.
times.
Yeah, I got one,
Yeah.
but
I did
I actually
it.
wanted to, thank you for bringing that, I was going to ask, is this, I want to open it, I don't know who they are.
It's an hour or something long.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It takes a while. I don't think you can fail it though.
Oh, no.
Keep taking.
Watch this Friday,
If you put, no, no, because you haven't taken it
No,
yet.
if you put it in so you can key back and
I'm gonna
tell
do
you what the
fine.
answer is.
If you put
I'm
one-
sure of it.
But it's been updated, so they have a section specific to nonprofit boards like library boards. So it's a little jazzier than the older one.
I didn't think it was jazzy.
I need to get out more.
Okay, so I think that's it for the director's report.
Vote,
Motion to accept.
we did that, we
Oh, we
did
did
that.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, assistant directors,
Can we vote? All in favor?
Aye.
assistant directors report, motion to accept.
Motion to accept?
Second.
Okay. So with our new book drop, we did a video for it, and we gained like 60 new followers, and it did amazingly well. So that was great, and people loved our book drop. They're using it like crazy now since they saw it on TikTok and Instagram, and Facebook. And then Baker and Taylor has been going great. They're giving us books before the release date, so we have pre-orders ready to go on the shelves or to
Nice.
people when they come in. So it's been great.
Okay.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, Friends update. I have to plead guilty for this one. I mean, I was there in body, but family members having very serious health issues, and I left a little early, so I'm gonna have to rely on someone else who was there to give the report.
Me?
Would you?
I didn't take any notes or anything.
Or Bonnie, or Sue?
Well, Sue's here, she
We have a lot.
A quick rundown of what that you talked about at the meeting.
Sure.
We discussed.
yeah, sure.
just-
I noticed you have in the back of your handout, you do have some nice updates
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
IMLS issue.
Mhm.
And
We do have that under new business. I don't know if you want to wait
you want
for
to
the discussion then, that's up to you.
Oh.
There was
Okay.
discussion of it during the meeting.
There was, and we had a
The thing
discussion.
that stuck with me most of the meeting was looking for boxes.
I
We had a
know.
long chat about boxes.
did,
That was
we
probably
did.
the brunt of the meeting.
Right, these are beer boxes that
need more?
we can always use more.
Okay.
But we're started April 1st to collect donations for the book sales this year. And we pack the boxes, we use the beer boxes because they get plenty heavy enough for all of us older folks particularly to carry. And they have the handles. We've got quite a few though so far.
I can drink that.
Which is great, but if you're ever out and about and you wanna, if you're in a spot where you wanna ask if they have any extra beer boxes, sure. You can bring them in and put them in the hallway, in the matin room, in the hallway into the matin room on top of the, coat racks or underneath on the coat racks as well. But we're in good shape at the moment. Yeah, we had a discussion on places.
If you,
Yeah.
someone with a truck can go to Lee's Market, they have a shed in the back that they fill with boxes.
Yeah,
And if you ask them nicely,
okay,
they have to have someone who is free to go out back to,
okay.
but they'll load it, they'll put a,
It is
A
some pretty
bunch.
sturdy boxes. there,
Yeah.
too.
And
yeah, the liquor boxes
the liquor
are.
boxes. Jenny Elias has been doing Lee's, and she seems to have a schedule with them. She goes on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. And one of the young guys, one of the tall young guys that works in that liquor department, knows she's coming. But I'll mention that to her. I didn't know she went around the back
Well,
and
I
did
know-
that, but
I know that if someone's moving and looking for boxes, that's, you can go there and
You can
they
go
will
there.
accommodate.
okay.
Very nice.
So, but yeah.
You don't have to drink all the beer to get the boxes.
And what's nice about those, we pack up the leftover books in September in those boxes. And then they go to the Bay State Books. They'll come and pick them up. And usually by then, the boxes are starting to fall apart. So we really don't want to hang on to them for another year. So, yeah, but yes, we did have a big discussion, because I've been to some places, and they just aren't interested in helping us, and that's fine. So, but we're good for now. But yeah, if you happen to be somewhere, sure, we welcome them, because we go through the end of August doing this. And so, okay. So yeah, that was part of our meeting. And let's see, what else we talked about.
I had given you a chart, I think you gave to the
Yes.
group about the different
Yeah,
responsibilities of
Yeah.
friends and trustees, the different roles we play in the community.
Right,
So I don't know if that was discussed, because I got a
Honestly,
phone
the
call
box
Scooter.
talk went to 8:15. It was a box meeting.
Because that was kind of what we were interested in, was whether or not
Yes.
we were going to collaborate
For the book sale?
for the responsibilities and
Of the
the information that
trustees
Laura
and-
brought last month.
Well, because we ran out of time,
Yeah.
and, we really do need to let the library staff go home.
The IMLS discussion took quite a while.
So I thought I'll put it on our May meeting
Okay.
agenda, because we really did run out of time, but I did give everybody a copy. I thought that was really very good what Connecticut has
Yeah.
done, and how we can coordinate with the library director, with the Friends, with your board, the trustees, so we'll take a look at that. I
Bonnie,
think
do you still have a copy of
we'll have a
that?
little
Yes.
Could you email
time
me
to
it?
do
Yep.
that.
I don't know where mine is.
Okay.
We talked about programs, and this past Saturday, we had the Art for Your Mind program. It was very, very nice. We only had about 25 to 30 people, but when I thought about it afterwards, some of our programs are geared towards specific themes, topics, and so we had some new people in the library. And you do get that, and new people coming in and saying, oh, when are you going to have your next program, or maybe I should look around the library, because they're Westport people, but they haven't really come to the library. But it was a really lovely program, and we're going to be reimbursed by the Westport Cultural Council. So this was a Helen Ellis grant. And so it might be something we'll try again in the future. But it was well received by the people who attended, and that matters, so. And then Bonnie shared with us her program, summer programs coming up in August. And your circus program?
Yeah, it's called Circus Minimus, and it's one person, it's the one-man circus in a suitcase. So he has all his stuff in a trunk, and he brings it out, and there's like a little cardboard tent thing. It's very cute. So.
Is this like Mary Poppins?
Sort of. And he plays different characters, and it's kind of a one-man show. So that's, I think it's August 6th?
6th. Yeah.
6th, yes.
At 1 o'clock?
At 1 o'clock, yeah.
I'm sorry, what is it called again, circus?
Minimus. Minimus. Minimus.
Minimus, okay.
Yes.
Minimus.
And when is it?
August 6th. It's a
And
Wednesday
So the
afternoon.
Friends will sponsor that, and on Saturday, August 16th, the South Coast famous Toe Jam Puppet Band is going to come and perform. Also sponsored by Fowl. So you've got two
What time is that one?
fun.
What time is that?
1 o'clock on a Saturday, and that's great. We're hoping, well, it's been raining the last 2 years, which we went in the meeting room, but that's okay. They really manage fine, and, hopefully we can be outside, because we get a lot of little ones, and they can run around and whatever they do, so.
And when is that? August 8th, 16th?
August 16th, Saturday the 16th at 1, and that was the circus program was Wednesday, August 6th at 1. And that will be in the Manton?
Yes, that one will be inside.
room, Bonnie?
Either way,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
We just
And-
might have to plan around if they're doing work out there. I don't know when they're gonna start.
Yeah, I'm not sure, yeah. I thought that was still gonna be in the spring when I booked it, so we'll work it around. We'll figure it out.
On there, okay. And we also, of course, I have bookmarks for everybody, and you can take more than one. We have more, but we just made our bookmarks for the 2 summer book sales this year. So.
And my 2024 is getting worn out.
And also move,
Yeah.
sure, pass those around, please. Yeah. So,
I don't.
Bookmark?
Bookmark.
I like the way you said good, instead of just used books, good used books.
yeah. Yes, we always, probably some of you, do most of you have a spring newsletter?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
good,
Yep.
good. 'Cause-
Oh, by the way, I sent that to Bay Coast Bank. Just to
Oh,
give them a
okay.
copy of it. They liked it. They said it's a
Right.
very nice newsletter.
Okay.
And to show some of the programs that we do.
Yeah.
Because they asked the questions and we gave them some pictures.
We're always thinking.
That's
Tried to.
good.
I don't want that mind to go idle.
No, you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
So we've had almost full sign-ups for sorting books right now through August, which is great. We have 2 volunteers a week who sort books. And then if we get a big donation, sometimes a family will pull up and open up their back of their car because they're cleaning out a family home, parents' home or whatever. and they have lots of books, so.
Now, where do you sort the books?
Where do we store them?
Sort them.
Oh, sort them in John's room.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be glad to show anybody.
Oh,
what
well,
I-
all the boxes on the shelves and
Yeah,
stuff?
the
Okay.
boxes, those are sorting banana boxes, and they're
Okay.
all labeled by category. And then you sort your books and put them in those boxes. Once each box is full, then you take a beer box or whatever, and you fill that and put a label on it, fiction,
Okay.
authors A through D, children's, whatever it might be. And then John will bring them out to the pod for us. And we have labels around the inside of the pod, because it really helps us when we come to emptying the pod in September. And so he puts them in their categories, and then,
Could you do a show and tell after the meeting for whoever wants
Oh,
to
sure,
stay? And
yeah. and go in the
Yeah,
back.
I'd love to.
You wanna see?
Yeah.
Okay, sure, I'd be really glad to, yeah. And, our maintenance people have always been very happy to have us work back there. And we try to keep it really tidy so that John can get to his stuff. And so, yeah. So it works really well. And so we have our summer fiction paperback sale for 2 weeks. And we're going to do it right in the foyer, set up one of the big old heavy wooden tables. And because we had last summer, when I accepted that huge donation, and I'm still on the board though, which is something, 'cause we had a lot of boxes of books come in, and we're going to put our oversized fiction paperbacks on the table and see how many we can sell the last 2 weeks of July, and for $2 each. And then we're going to use one or two, maybe one, the current free mass market paperback rack. We'll use that for really nice, smaller mass market paperbacks that we'll charge $1 for, and we'll see how that goes. And it actually might help us for September because it frees up room in the Manton room for all our categories to fit everything in there. And the foyer last summer, we did the cookbook sale, and I'll tell you, people would stop, they would chit chat, they would visit, you'd run into your friend, they're all looking, oh, look at this cookbook. I mean, it was a nice little social place. I mean, it might get once in a while a little crowded, but we'll see how it goes. And what it does, it frees up the Manton room for your other programs during July, because we would take over the south side. And so we'll see how it goes. We try something. And then September is our week-long sale. Member preview night on Friday, September 5th, and we'll go from Saturdays to Saturday, September 6th through September 13th. So, so that we had talked about at the meeting.
Thank you.
Sure, I think that's, we just talked about, we did vote to fund Bonnie's circus program as well. And that was that mostly it?
I think so. I think that was basically it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. No, thanks a lot. And, okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Safety committee updates?
I think the only thing we have on the safety committee is the doors, and that's also kind of part of the ADA walkway. I sent out a note to everybody kind of updating on when things are gonna get done. I just wanted everybody to know about it because I had to extend the time for the Manton people. They wanted it done. They asked me when it was gonna be done, I said, but July 1st. That's not gonna happen. So I said to August, so they set it for September. And they really just want to be able to close the project out. So,
Do we have a date for the doors? Because I know it had gotten pushed. No.
not yet. I'll email them today to find out. So, that's all I got on that. You want me just to combine the two things together? The walkway is, he said it might cost a little bit more money for the concrete, but the labor's the same. If concrete goes up, it'll go up a little bit, but I think we have that covered. We'll have some money left over in that project, I believe, because the first price on the doors was a lot more expensive than the second price.
Yep.
And we talked about the water line, we're gonna figure out a way to run the water line outside instead of up to the ceiling, just for some concerns
That's a
if
good
it
idea.
freezes or something. Joseph doesn't, well, I don't know what Joseph wants to do. He didn't want to do anything until he knew exactly where the walkway was going, but now I guess he's asked where the trees are gonna go. He asked Bonnie for layouts of the trees. I don't really have a layout, I have a sketch, but I can't tell you it's 5 feet from here or 10 feet from there. I can't read whatever the architect did. He did it in architect language.
And we won't know till they start the excavation.
Mhm.
He
I know where
attacks
they're
some
gonna
trees,
start.
and I think he's just sort of concerned that
Yeah.
something will happen to them, but I think we're
Well,
gonna
we
have
could
to
bring
wait.
them up here and sit them, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, yeah, I guess we could.
We could sit them right behind
Yeah.
the building, nobody will
Yeah,
bother.
that would be an option.
You have to understand, this has been taking years.
Mm-hmm.
He's been chomping at the bit, you know? And he's
Yeah.
stuck with it.
Mhm.
He's really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be beautiful when it's done.
Mhm.
He had a vision.
Takes
He
time.
wants to see it.
Yeah, he likes to get things done quickly. I think that's all I have.
Could we have, I mean, down the road, when it's close to being finished, plan a little publicity?
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
a meet
Just
and
then we have
greet.
like a dedication.
We're gonna have a dedication.
Oh,
At least we had said we would someday.
That they may be
Because I
here.
have the people that I called, the people who donated benches,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, incommunicado.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody looked at the benches lately? Do they need to be redone
I
or?
haven't been out there recently. From far away, they look
Unfortunately,
fine.
those are gonna be a maintenance item.
Mhm.
Every so often, they're gonna have to be resealed.
You could ask Diamond if they would like to do that again
Yeah.
also, they did it
They did it last
originally,
year.
so.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't remember.
Well, I think Laura and I tried.
We
Oh,
did.
we all tried, didn't we?
So, but they did a nice job. They took them all out, they tipped them over, they did their thing and put them
Yeah.
back.
And they like being out here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's it for me.
Okay, and personnel, director's review, June 9th, right?
I don't remember, but okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think I wrote it down, but I will be here, so.
And I'll send the form out to Polly
Mhm.
and Bonnie before, let's say, at least a couple of weeks before.
I have a question on personnel. Did we have a job description meeting or something for someone to work on job descriptions?
I
Did that-
think
anything?
Did it all.
Bonnie
Bonnie did
is preparing.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, so it's not ready.
No, a lot of other stuff came up and we
Okay.
I think we decided to wait on that for a little bit.
I was just curious.
I think we pushed it to June, didn't we?
Was it, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
That meeting in June.
That meeting that we're going to have
Yes.
about that thing we're going to do.
And that's about it. That's what I have. Revisit hotspot policy.
I just want to bring it up again. Our current policy is our hotspots only go out to residents, which is great, but then we don't always have a lot of use for them for the residents. Summer, obviously, they go out a lot more. We usually have like 1 or 2 circulating at a time, but we also have the COA they pay for 3 more that they then borrow when they need them, but if not, we let other people use them. I would personally like to open it up to non-residents, at least maybe some of them. We keep some that was I did put the policy that you had all come up with before, but we have 8 of them?
I think so, yeah.
8 or 9, I believe.
Can
And
you-
not all of them circulate.
Can you explain how a hotspot works? What
Um,
exactly the
it
person who
just-
wants to use it has to do?
Yes, as long as you can get a cell phone signal, you turn it on and you put in the password and you can get your laptop or cell phone to have a Wi-Fi signal.
Mhm.
So it's like having Wi-Fi just in someone's house or.
Mm-hmm. That doesn't
um,
have it.
Yeah, exactly. So like in summer, we have a lot of people who use them.
So that the non-resident is likely
Yes,
resi-
but then
a
in
resident,
summer it
but
becomes
not a-
up because they are only here temporarily.
Yeah.
Technically, as the way the policy is written, they can't borrow them. So we saw not a lot of people using them. We could keep some as just for Westport patrons and maybe have some that circulated.
I don't have an issue
Outside.
with some of the people using them.
You have to remember, this is something new, so until we've tried it,
Yeah.
you don't know. So I would say whatever you and Amy think
Okay.
works.
Have you had non-residents inquire?
Yes,
Yes, a lot.
a lot.
Yeah.
Are they summer people or just?
Both.
Both.
We have people from other communities whose hotspots get used, like Fall River has some, and they're usually on hold for other people. So they will say, you know, sorry, an area librarian.
And there is a time period, isn't there?
You only get them for a week, and then
Oh.
they are not. You can't renew them, and you can't take them out like twice in a row. You have to like wait a week, and then you can come back again, so that everybody gets a chance. I just think since we're paying for them anyway, it's better than having them sit
I
there.
think you should do it and just monitor it. If it's not an issue, then you just do it.
We could keep the ones the three that are paid for by the COA as just for Westport residents.
So are you gonna rewrite this?
Yes, we would have to I would have to
And-
rewrite the policy and have
And we'll
everyone.
just
And then
approve it
we'll
in the
vote.
next meeting?
Okay, yeah, if everybody agrees, I can do that.
Okay.
Okay.
That was easy.
Sounds good.
So remember the hotspot that was returned to the Dropbox and then went missing?
Yes.
Did that ever show up?
It did.
It did.
Yes.
Okay.
It showed up. So then we had an extra actually, because I got replaced already.
Oh, there you go. Huh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Did they really return it?
George, somebody handed it to George. I never got the whole story,
Oh.
so he was still here. But yes, it did appear again, so that was good.
Okay, the next item is the executive order signed by President Trump in March, basically gutting the Institute of Museum and Library Services, which specifically in terms of Massachusetts libraries, 13 of the 23 staff members of the Board of Library Commissioners get their salaries funded partially through the IMLS. It helps to fund statewide research databases, the Commonwealth Catalog, which is wonderful, where you could borrow items from across the state, summer reading programs, the statewide ebook program, which is not Hoopla or Libby.
It could
Correct.
eventually affect Libby, but the one that they're specifically talking about in all of the press releases they've put out is not Libby.
But that could change.
That could, yes, it could eventually affect, because Libby is through the network. We all chip into that, and it depends on what happens to our state funding, because the state aid section is run by employees who are paid for through the IMLS. So somebody from Boyden Library had put together a really nice quick fact sheet that I gave everybody. And there was two of them that they put together, and there's also bookmarks that they had made on the counter that have, Laura has one, that have QR codes
Great
that bring you to
bookmarks.
ALA and every library and all of the resources.
Yeah. So I was wondering, I viewed a webinar, it was live actually, on Friday from the ALA about what libraries can do to advocate for restoring funding. And I know the Friends were going to, they did discuss it at the meeting as well,
Right.
the Friends Board. And some of the suggested actions were call or email Congress, and that would include our local, like Mike, as well as Bill Keating, because the effects filter down to the states, and what did the states do to make up the shortfall?
So
It's gonna be tough.
you've made a call to
I've called.
Keating's office, right?
Yeah, I got a person.
I did too, but it didn't feel like it mattered. I mean, that's maybe personal. I was just kind of like, okay, I'll let him know. Bye. I'm like, well, you
Yeah.
didn't even ask for my name. You didn't even ask me what you're gonna let him know.
I thought part two of that was we could invite him to come to the library and get a tour and see what we do.
Well, I think Don, you put out an email that said what funding? I think it was yours. What
You wanted
funding
about
do we
state
get? Like,
funding?
is there
The
any
state.
number?
I know,
And what would we lose if it did?
that's what I kind of want to
Yeah.
look at.
Yeah.
I can go through that I've sent to everybody if you'd like,
Yeah, you
of what we get from state funding. Do you want to go through that now?
Sure, because they're connected.
Okay, yeah.
I have one question on that. When you,
Yes.
just as an example for FY '24 and FY '25, where it adds up, the current balance is 56.
That's previous year. You don't have to use it, the whole thing, every year, so it's been building up.
build it.
Yeah.
where does that 56 come from?
That's previous years. That's what we have left from previous
It's not
years.
adding 24 and 25 together?
Yeah, because we spent some of it. There was some left over from previous years, and then we've gotten them in, and then we spent some of it. So that's currently what the balance is.
Is the 56?
Yes, because we have spent some of it. So the state aid, the first two numbers on the worksheet, or whatever you want to call it that I gave you, that's the total amount we got each year for FY24 and FY25. So it's $34,000 and $38,000.
When is that distributed?
It's distributed twice. So we get the first part usually around January, December, January, and then we just got, I believe it was the last week in March that we got the second. So we have all of our state aid for this year.
State aid, okay.
Yes. So we got the second payment. They do half and half. It's split up into 3 different grants that we get, which are broken down next. So the library incentive grant is the main one. Everyone gets that based on population. So we have the 2 last grants we've gotten for FY24 and 25 that were the library incentive grant. They don't put really restrictions on what you can do with them. They're to better the library, programming, whatever you need. People use it for staffing sometimes. We've done that in the past. So the current balance is what we have based on, because we don't have to use it every year. We don't use the whole amount every year usually.
So your balance is greater than the 2 years?
Yes,
So you
because
have-
there was some left over. So we've gotten more, we've used some, we've gotten another grant, we've used some.
It's kind
Do
of
you
like a
have to-
cushion.
Yeah,
Do you
basically.
have to use up the older stuff first?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
You can, George liked to not use it really and save it for emergencies. They prefer you don't do that because they like to be able to say what you've done with your
If you don't
state aid
use it,
money.
do you need it?
You don't need it.
Exactly.
Exactly, yeah. That's always my question. Like,
Well,
what do you need?
Yeah, and the thing is, if you don't spend it, does that mean you don't need it?
Exactly.
Right.
So-
Right.
And that's a real question.
That's yes, it is a very real question.
I would say you should probably use most of it every year. A little bit maybe carry over, but not a significant amount.
So,
Right.
for example, I put what we have used on the library incentive grant. We've used it to pay for Hoopla, which is on track to go use about over $8,000 this year. Hoopla has just blown up. Everyone is using it, which is great because books are getting more expensive and audiobooks are very expensive. So it's something we definitely want to keep providing for
Didn't
everybody.
we increase that amount?
We did, yes.
Because it was
So-
3 or something, and we went to 5.
Yeah, no, I think right after I started, we talked again, because before George left at the end of the fiscal year, he had cut it down a little bit, and people were upset. That
Right.
did not go over well.
Well, because
Um,
they couldn't put books aside.
Yes, and there was a cap on each file you're borrowing costs a certain amount of money, so it could be a lot of them were like $2.99. So there was a cap on it where you couldn't get some. So there was some of the really A Court of Thorns and Roses is this huge series, and all of a sudden they disappeared from Hoopla. We had very many people upset about that.
So,
that's
from
something.
this library's Hoopla?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Because Hoopla is something each library does separately. Not everybody has it. Libby is the one that we all share together.
Okay, and that's not
So-
here.
No, that's part of our sales assessment, which I will get to next, that we also use state aid for. So Hoopla is something I definitely don't want to cut again. We got very bad feedback from that. So that's something I've used state aid for. Our Ancestry.com subscription that we have here in the library is paid for through that.
Isn't that a problem right now? Ancestry, isn't that in bankruptcy and you're supposed to?
Oh, that's the other one, 23andMe.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
that's
right.
what
Okay,
it
thank
is,
you.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. that
Because
was
if
all.
you use it, they say erase all of your information
Yeah.
because it will be whoever buys it will have
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
information now.
Mhm.
If
That's
you've ever
creepy,
used it,
yeah.
I've never used that stuff. But.
Me neither.
I haven't either yet.
We have the water quality testing that they do through the school,
Yeah.
and that's pricey. So I've been using state aid to pay for that also, for some of that also.
I would like to dig into that sometime. I don't think it's distributed fairly
I don't. I
For the
just
amount of
can't
water
know,
we
I'm not
use.
sure.
Compared to the school.
compared to the schools.
Well, they do pay a lot more than we do. I don't know what the
Yeah.
actual formula is.
I would like to
but-
see how they do it. If we do it
Yeah.
based on maybe gallons used,
Mhm.
I think that would be fair.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they do
Mhm.
that.
But that's an expense we never had before.
Yeah, that's since
That's
the
new.
construction. That's a new thing, and that is
Oh.
right. That's a bit of money.
I have to leave. I have an appointment at 1 o'clock,
Okay.
but Valerie has everything I need.
Okay.
Okay.
And the other big thing we pay for through the state aid, the library incentive grant, is the sales network assessment, which is how much we pay to be a part of the sales network every year. It's, last year was about it was a little over $17,000. We get $11,000 through the town budget for it, and then anything that's left over we pay with the state aid. So that's kind
Does
of,
that ever change?
it changes
the town?
every year. It goes up a little. Oh no, the town, it's been 11,000 for a while, yeah. It has gone up, they are up to 11,000, but it doesn't pay for the whole amount. And, if we're not part of the sales network, that's a disaster. So that's a very important thing that we use state aid money for. The municipal equalization grants is supposed to help compensate for the disparities in how much each town gets, or each library gets from their town. So we get, the balance of that is 24 and 25, we got those. There's the total, and then I've been using that, I did some hoopla, we also did some HVAC repair and things like that out of that money.
What's the total for library incentive grant that you have balance of? Is that the 56?
Library incentive, yes, currently we have 56,000
And
for
then the
that one.
municipal?
The
is-
municipal, we
is-
have almost 40,000 in that account.
Okay.
And then the last one is the small one, which is non-resident circulation offset, which they give money based on how many patrons are using your library who are actually from another community.
And the balance of that one is the 37?
Yes, yeah, that's just a tiny one. So like we bought new barcodes, we had to order those, so we pay for little things like that.
So you pretty much, it's up to you to decide how you move all
Yeah,
the stuff around?
exactly, yeah. So that is basically how we have been using the state funding, a lot of digital services, and being part of.
My main reason
Yes.
for asking that is how would that affect us if we get,
So the other is
Cuts.
federal funding.
Right.
So your state funding until
State
the
funding is
federal
where we
affects
get,
that.
like, that's how I can show you bills of what we've used, you
doesn't the
know?
federal funding go to the
To
state?
the state
and then they
first,
take
and then the
that?
state
Right,
distributes
right.
it.
Yeah.
So
The people
within
who
there.
are in charge of giving us our state funding are paid for by the IMLS. All of the people who run, there's, I think, is it 2 or 3 people who are in the state aid office who answer all our questions, help us fill out all of the paperwork we need. That's where the ARIS report comes in and the financial report that I have to do every year. And that is all, they are either all or partially funded through the IMLS. So if there's no one there to give us our state funding,
It sits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or it doesn't
exactly. It
exist.
has to be
Yeah.
dispersed by someone, and that is paid for.
It
So.
can't be done by AI.
So we're not like, we don't get a check from IMLS, it's not
Yeah.
that type, like we do from the state.
Yeah.
But we don't get our state funding unless the
But doesn't the
IMLS
state
is there.
funding come from the federal government or no?
I don't believe so.
It mostly comes from the state.
That's through the
State
state
tax,
budget.
okay.
Yeah.
So what does the federal government supply? Nothing?
The IMLS budget
But the IMLS budget,
gets filtered out to the states, to the state library
And they decide where
associations.
they want the money to go. So it's
Yeah.
it was going through programming. They had a manga program for prison libraries, which I thought was super interesting. There's a statewide ebook catalog that it goes to currently. There is on that paper I gave you, there was 4 things that they've already cut.
Right.
And then
Yeah,
it depends
yeah.
on, everything is funded through the end of June. And after that, we don't know what's going to happen with
So
that.
some of
what you sent on the Annapolis library was very interesting
the,
and not.
Mhm.
At the same time,
So-
very sad.
it still seems like some of the federal money filters to the state and then the state filters it down.
It does to a certain
Yes.
extent, yes.
So
But-
it's kind of watery how
Yeah.
how it
It's
is.
hard to say how important the IMLS is because I can't give you a list of things I purchased with that money.
Right,
Like
right.
you can with state aid, but state aid doesn't get dispersed without IMLS, basically.
But the website you sent us, every library, every library with information about saving the IMLS has specifics, how it gets filtered down to the states.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also the E-rate program, which we don't use, but
Oh, you don't?
it's, no, we pay for
The
it, but.
schools use that, right?
Yeah, it gives
Yeah.
discounted internet access, which is important for a lot of small libraries.
But we go through sales for that.
We do. The E-rate has to be filtered because it's through the government and it's the Child Protection Act, the Internet Child Protection Act. And we had chosen not to have filtered internet at the library. But if it's a choice between no information or filtered information, obviously a lot of people, it's, that's very important. So that's something that is funded through the government.
Because you get special rates, E-rates are for special for schools and
Mhm.
libraries.
Yeah, if you decide to go through that program, but we just went through sales, so it's hard to say exactly what's gonna happen. We're kind of in a wait and see mode at this point, unfortunately. But we're good through June, and we personally here do have, grants and donations and things,
Now, the
so-
town's budget has to be approved at the meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
But that's already basically been approved, it's just gotta go before the voters.
Yes, as far as I know, the finance committee has put it through.
Yeah.
And Jim had approved it already, so we'll just see if it actually, if there's any issues
Did
with
you
that.
want anything from us, like letters to the editor supporting the budget ahead of town meeting? Because I was reading, it may have been on every library or another website, how to calculate the return on investment.
Oh, I did that.
for your
Thank you for bringing
library.
that up. I was actually
It was
'cause I
so cool.
on the MVLC website looking
Okay.
up state aid stuff, and they linked to the Maine State Library has a little calculator you can use, and you put in your circulation statistics, programming numbers, all these things that I had from the ARIS report. So for every $1 we get from the town, we have $6.68 in services provided, which I thought was pretty
That's
good.
pretty good.
I thought so.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So I'd be happy, or unless someone else wants to, write a letter to the editor of the Westport Shorelines and maybe even the Boston Globe, why not, about the return on investment in Westport and what a bargain the library is for the patrons. So I could use.
And there was actually two
Your
of the
numbers.
fields I couldn't actually fill out because I didn't have that information. So that was just based on the information I did have. But I think that was a pretty good.
Yeah, if you can pass it on to me, I'll send the letter out.
Sure. I can
Before
send you the
town
link to
meeting.
the because you can actually it's set up so people can see how much the library they can put in how many times they visited the library and how many programs they've gone to and how much the library has given them. So I thought that was an interesting thing.
It's so funny how everything is data driven. Like
Mhm.
everything, if you can put a number to it, then it has value.
Right.
It's kinda- but
My
we have
big
to-
concern with some of this is if we lose some of this, where do we gain? How do we pay for it?
That's the problem. So
Or
then
what do we lose?
yeah.
And I noticed on here, I think it's on some of the, not the trust, what do you call them, the grants or trust, the thing we charge money to. Grants, what is it? The state.
The trust funds?
Trust funds. We use the trust funds for some of our expenses for the buildings as well.
Yes,
Right.
a lot of our building
This
maintenance and
building here?
repair.
Yeah. Because, we use the HVAC system, I don't know how much we charge to that account versus this account versus that account, because we spread it out, because we
Yeah.
can do that.
Some of it is the
Some of the
expansion gift
grants are
account.
some of them are unrestricted, so we can do anything we want with it.
Yeah.
How many accounts, I don't know if I can ask this question, but do you like toggle between, there's the state fund, the
There's the state aid, so there's the three of those. There's the gift account, and then there's the general fund expenses through the
and then
town.
there's the,
And then we have a lot
the-
of smaller grants that were, or trust funds that we were given, which are just for materials.
specific, and
yeah.
then there's fall, which.
And yeah, well,
is
that goes into the
gift-giving.
gift account,
Yeah,
so
okay.
I count it as,
Okay.
if it's something Fowl has
That's
purchased
not
for
that
us.
many. That's not that many to kind of oversee, right? I mean,
Yeah,
not
no,
in the
it's not
sense
that
of
bad, yeah.
I don't mean like
Yeah,
it's
there's
not
a
lost
long
in-
list, but a lot of them are only for specific things. So it's not like, every
The
month.
Manton one is unrestricted.
And then there was one that was quite restricted.
Yeah, a
We
lot
talked
of the
about
book,
that.
the ones that are for materials are for certain
Now,
things.
the recent one we got from Anderson, that's not restricted too, right?
That just went into the gift account. So that's, there's no restrictions put on that, so. So basically, yeah, until we find out,
Yeah.
until this all gets resolved, we don't really know what's gonna happen next, but.
You're very positive.
In my mind, it's not quite as positive, but we shall see what
I like
happens.
We control what we can control.
That's it, right?
That's it.
We'll continue doing the best we can for
Yeah.
the people here in town, so
That's great.
that's all we can do.
Very nice.
Okay, old business, shed project.
We're still waiting to hear from Diamond. And then as soon as I hear from them, I will let you know and
I
we
think
can
it's
move forward, hopefully.
excellent choice.
I think that's the best way to go, especially with, we don't know what's gonna happen with funding to spend that much on a shed just gave me hives, so I'd rather see if we can,
with-
do it
with
cheaper.
them, we could also
Yeah,
get the
the
other
worst thing to do
people
would be wipe out your
Right.
account.
Exactly,
Oh,
yeah.
let's have more funding.
We're gonna need that cushion.
Yeah.
Well, it will be great to have, I'm super excited to get the shed, it's gonna be awesome to have more storage space, it's, that's a big paycheck right now.
So that at the earliest would be summer, fall,
Most likely at this point, yeah.
at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I've worked with Diamond before on a couple other projects, and they were very good. Yeah, we
Yeah,
did really
yeah.
well with them. And, okay.
I found out there's an agency, it's called excuse me, Mass Grant Watch. They list all the grants that are available in the state. So I'm gonna look into it. I know it's $200 to join it, but I know somebody who's in it, so I'm gonna try to.
Look over the shoulder.
Yeah.
Lead Coast grant application update.
Have nothing, just
Okay.
waiting on them. Like I said, I did send them the newsletter, the most recent newsletter, even though their name is on it, I don't know if they get it. Or who it
Well,
goes to.
Denise gives them one as well.
Okay, but I don't know who it goes to.
Well, that's a good question.
Because the person I sent it to has never seen it.
Yeah, okay, they should.
Pecos is pretty big.
I would, yeah, and it might go to a different location in Westport, that's true, when Denise sends
Because
it.
this one goes to their corporate office in Swansea.
It's Swansea,
Swansea, is it
okay,
Swansea,
so
yeah.
that might be
Who did it go
where-
to? Do you know?
Carol,
Novo?
yep,
Uh-huh,
yep.
okay.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
Can I make a motion?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So this is Michael's bookstore, it's year-round. Oh, I can't tell you, we started it 5 or 6 years ago, and we always, I don't know why we didn't do it sooner. But it's a wonderful year-round fundraiser. All of the adult books, hardcover, paperback, are $2, and the children's books are 25 cents.
Nice.
So you can find some real bargains in there. And we'll go back here and I'll show you, let's see.
Standing on the edge.
Here's our wonderful space. We actually have improved the lighting back here. And these are all of Michael's. These are all books we have had throughout the year. And then when we need to refill the bookstore out there, we usually come right here and look for books to put out there. So now that, and we're very lucky to have these shelves over there here for our foul stuff, because as we all know, our space is what it is.
Now, who is Michael?
Michael Habib, who has been on the Friends board since that began, I think, or right after it began in the mid-'80s. So the library formed a Friends of the Westport Library. And,
He was a gentleman at the meeting last week.
yes,
Yeah.
he's the only guy.
that was there.
But he doesn't mind. So what I do, our volunteers come in and, well, actually, they look in, I should have done this first, but there's a bin right out there, and where you bring in your donations and just pop them in the bin, or if they're in boxes, and you don't want need your boxes, just put the boxes right on the floor by the bin, okay? And then our volunteers come in, and so we start sorting, and they bring the books back here, and we have all these boxes that are numbered, 1 through the high 20s, and so if you have a DVD that someone brought in today, you'd pop it in the audiovisual box, and they're all categories. We have the book categories for this year, and there are actually 28 of them, because we skipped a number that we got rid of. But they're by adult fiction, oversized paperbacks, cookbook, and all the way along. And so you can fill the boxes from either side of this shelving, and that's basically what we do, all the different nonfiction categories. We don't want to take business books or dated health books. I mean, there's, history is wonderful. We get a lot of history, but a dated nonfiction book is really not suitable. And people do bring in books, and that we really aren't able to use. And when we receive something that maybe isn't appropriate or is falling apart, or a book that's moldy or such, they go in these bins over here. And here we have a bin that's almost full. And these are bins we used during COVID, and we put wheels on the bottom of them because Laura would remember too, we didn't check in books right away. Remember we were supposed to hang it, you'd
Let 'em
return
sit,
stuff and we had to put them in the manton room and hang on to them. So any of our that we're not able to use, and there's sometimes stuff like this, and these go in the back parking lot. We have the Bay State bin, and our maintenance man brings these out and puts them in the bin, and when the bin's full in the back parking lot, I call Bay State Books, and they come and they distribute used books to organizations and other nonprofits and wherever the need is. And we're grateful for that because, sometimes we should throw books away, like this one I think should go in the...
Do they recycle them after, or
They do.
Yeah.
They recycle
The
them,
ones
and
that
they
aren't-
recycle the paper if, they can't use the actual book. So, and so that's what we do. We fill up these boxes, and there are some instructions for our volunteers here, just some helpful hints. And over here we have these two paperback boxes, box for the carousel, paperback rack in the foyer, this one and this one down here. So these are books that will go right now as freebies out to the carousel, which is really popular. People love coming.
Yeah, I've gotten some from there. I haven't read them yet, but
And
summer.
so we hang on to a lot of books that we might not, necessarily use for the book sale. And I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Oh, here, look at these boxes right here. And these were filled today, since we opened. So these are the psychology books, and these is fiction oversized, fiction paperback oversized. Cookbooks. I get a lot of cookbooks. Wonderful cookbooks. And what do I have? Audio-visual DVDs and music CDs. So when John comes in tomorrow, and he'll probably bring, we're open later tonight, we might get some more donations, and he'll bring these out to the pod and put them in there, and we store them till September.
And they all get moved back, right?
And then they all get moved back. Yeah.
It is. It's kind of it's a cycle, but you kind of go forward and backward to go forward again.
A little, yeah. But it works, and we find we have to we need to collect them for April through August, because we need to have a good volume to make it worthwhile to have the book sales, and of course it's a good fundraiser for the library, which is probably really more important than ever now. But it's allowed us to provide a lot of books for the collection. I mean, almost every book you open now that you check out from the library has
the
foul
book plate,
stamped book plate in it, and our programs, some of the foul provides some of those, and we've been able to do some reupholstering, some chairs here.
Yeah, they look great.
Don't they look
They
nice?
do. They
And
look
whether
lovely,
it just, perks it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that's stuff we never would even think about doing. We had chairs that were here for quite a while.
Well, that's great.
And and so that's basically, that's what we do. So, yeah.
Nice, thank you.
Okay, you're
Thanks for showing
welcome.
us.
Oh,
It's a lot of
sure.
work in a very little space.
Yeah.
It's a little chilly.